Hi guys, this is Black Music Family. My name is Brienne. Today we are with
Sean Jones.
Wow. So Sean,
Yes.
can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I was born in Etobicoke, moved to Montreal. My parents are both of Jamaican descent. They're both Jamaican. At the age of 5, my dad was working for Bell Canada, and they were setting up something in Saudi Arabia. The entire family, my sister, my mom, and my dad, and me, I went over to Saudi Arabia for 5.5 years. And
Okay.
we lived on a Canadian compound. It was quite the experience. I didn't realize how fortunate I was to actually have that experience until much later. Came back to Canada just as I was hitting kind of like middle school, high school. It wasn't until 9th grade that I was sitting in French class and my teacher, Miss Priolo, was there. And I believe it was Anita Hines that was behind me. And she said, and I was humming. And she said, Miss Priolo, Sean can sing. And Miss Priolo was like, Sean, you got to come up to the front of the class. And I don't know what made me do it, but I got up to the front of that class and I started singing. And
do you remember what song it was?
Oh yeah, it was High Fives, The Kissing Game. Awesome, awesome along, we've been together, and I'll never felt
I'm just
so
saying that in
good.
front of the class.
Sang in front of the class, every girl in that room went. And that was it.
And you were like, I never need to pick up the guitar again.
I was like, I never need to talk again. I was like, I just need to sing. Like, that was my in. And that's what started me singing. It was just for girls, purely to get attention.
Is that why you got into that boy band?
Well,
Let's talk about that.
let's talk about that. Yes, in essence was an interesting thing because I was singing in school and there was 3 guys who actually had a 5-man group. And 2 of their members left for whatever reason, so they were searching for 2 more. There's another gentleman at another school, Michael Pope, at Father Gates, and he somehow heard about me, and so we began singing together. And those 3 guys heard about us and asked about, what were we doing, and we all got together one night at Michael's house. And it was just the 3 of them battling against the 2 of us. We were singing back and forth, you know what I mean? Singing songs back and forth. And that's how, in essence, began. We were just like, oh, well, this is kind of cool. We're all vibing. Battle. Yeah. And we put together a nice package. And at the time, there was a magazine called Vibe magazine. I don't know if it's still around now or not, but it was like the major magazine for R&B, hip hop in the US. And so they were holding a music conference in New York City. And so we took our packages. We're like, we're going down there. We're going to get signed. That's it. And we went down there. It was at the Manhattan Center. And it's $500 to get into this damn thing for each person.
Oh my God.
And like we didn't have no cash. So one of the guys came up with this brilliant idea. Everyone came out with lanyards. And everyone that was coming out of this conference had lanyards on them.
What is happening right now?
So we took these lanyards. We took lanyards. I don't know if we bought them at a store, if we picked up like other ones that were just like basic. And we waited till the security guards were distracted. And we all just walked in at the same time. We all got in.
Don't follow it.
No, you probably shouldn't. But, we weren't hurting nobody. We weren't hurting anybody.
They got in, so.
We got in and we were handing out packages everywhere. And then we heard that Funkmaster Flex was doing a concert just somewhere in Manhattan somewhere. And so we picked up our stuff and we had a boombox at that time. We got our music blasting and some guy comes up to us and he's like, yo, who is that? And we're like,
stop.
But we don't know who this guy is. It's just like, it's us, man. So all of a sudden we see this crowd walking down the street and it's Flex. And Flex is the biggest DJ at the time in the United States, like period. Like he breaks records. He plays your stuff on Hot 97. That's it. You're gone.
Wow.
So we see him coming down and someone busts through the crowd and is like, here, Flex. And we hand him a package. Little did we know, Flex gets inside the building and he's like, and he hands it back to his manager at the time.
Oh.
Who was the guy on the street who had said, who are you? Who is that? And we had been that's us. This was like a major moment. To be signed to a major management label like Flex to be put on that world stage
Right.
per se.
That was when it like truly.
That's when things like really started to open up.
Yeah.
You know, we started doing these little tours. We go to Miami, we do some shows. We're doing shows in New York City. And they set up a showcase for us with every single record label that you could possibly
Oh my
want to
gosh.
get signed to.
They lined you guys up.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Like we were, like this was it. And literally just sing well. And somebody there, many people there would have been like, yo, Flex, we need to sign these guys. Like, and we would have had our pick. We stunk up the joint to the point where they all left
No.
and they didn't say nothing.
Did they leave in the middle of the performance?
No,
or-
they waited. They were nice enough to leave to wait till the end, but everybody left. We were stuck. If something is meant for you, it just is. Because we came back and there was a hip hop group by the name of Metal Concepts, and they were doing a song, and they needed somebody to sing the hook on it because the original person that was supposed to sing the hook on it couldn't do it anymore. They approached us and we said, yeah, absolutely, we'll do it. We ended up doing the song. We recorded it, and then they were signed to BMG. They were signed to BMG at the time.
Okay.
And so they were going to shoot a video. And so they ended up shooting the video, and they invited us to be in the video, obviously. We're at the video, and the president and vice president of BMG are at that shoot.
This is your new chance.
We didn't mess up this time. We had them in the alleyway, and we started singing to them a cappella. We killed it.
Oh my god.
The next week, literally, we were in their offices and we were talking about signing the licensing deal, which we did.
Right.
And we ended up recording an album called The Master Plan.
Mhm.
And Master Plan went on to win Soul R&B Recording of the Year at the 2004 Juno.
These five gentlemen from Toronto blend R&B, hip-hop, and tribal rhythms together to create one soulful sound. Here to perform Friend of Mine, please welcome, In Essence.
And then BMG merged with Sony, and there started to be layoffs, and they started to cut acts, but they kept us.
Really?
Yeah, so we thought we were good, and we had been working on our second record, which was gonna be phenomenal. We kept on asking, you know, like, when's the album gonna be released? Because we had like finished it, and they're like, don't worry, it's coming, it's coming. You know, we got to work out things with Sony, BMG, and then we just couldn't get an answer out of them. So finally, we were like, you know what? If you're not gonna release this music, then let us, so that we can just find somebody else.
Mhm.
Finally, they said, okay, see you later.
Oh.
And we were like, yes. You know, we're five guys, 12 years together, egos, all that stuff. We're growing, you know, and everyone thinks they know which way we need to go now.
Right.
Crew blows up.
Mhm.
We can't repair what's happened. And so, yeah, we break up. I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be in music, obviously. I still love performing.
But you didn't become a solo artist right away.
Not right away. It was more of I was interested in songwriting. Throughout the entire time,
Right.
I had gotten interested in songwriting. I ended up meeting a group of people who had a record label called Wide Awake Entertainment, and I ended up signing with them. As you get older, you get responsibilities, you get homes and cars, and you got to pay bills.
Mortgage.
And it just happens. And so a nice check that is for sure coming in every single month is great. Even if you're not doing anything, even if you're just on the roster and you're not literally doing nothing and you're making music, but it's never being released, it's still kind of nice and you get comfortable with that. But at some point it was like, okay, these people aren't good for me. What do I want to do? And literally I was presented with the opportunity of sign this paper and we'll just keep the money forward, or leave and take your chances.
Oh, so you did.
I took my chances and I left. And this is a bit new, who was head of Sony BMG at the time when In Essence was there. She had left Sony BMG and I ended up giving her a buzz, and I knew that she might have some contacts, and so I ended up like hooking up with her and just being like, hey, you know, like, can I get your advice on this? And then she started asking me, well, what's going on with the music? I was like, I'd like to dress up and be classy and just like croon, do more of a crooner type thing.
Okay.
And she's like, oh, well, you know what? I know this guy, Jeffrey Latimer. I think he's looking for someone like you. So I got introduced to Jeffrey. As luck would have it, he actually had another artist on his label, another Black artist, not label, but on his roster.
Do you think this is around the time where a lot of more Black artists were being introduced to the music scene?
I think Black artists have always been in the music scene in Canada.
Right.
It's just more of the fact of
Getting that opportunity.
Getting the opportunity, because to this day, there's still this stigma that Black music doesn't work in Canada.
Yeah.
To this day, like back in the day, it was the same thing. And that's management, that is record labels,
Right.
that is anyone, gatekeepers, all the same stuff.
Right.
Even though some of the biggest artists in the world are Black and from Canada.
I think the top 2 biggest artists in the world right now,
Well,
Drake and Weeknd,
yeah,
Black and Canadian.
What do we know? What do we know, right?
Is that why you went on to do the R&B and soul event at the Harbourfront, which is happening
August 29th. That is going down.
Mm-hmm.
Glenn Lewis, Jackie Richardson, Divine Brown, and Vincent Darby. You know what? Yes. I mean, in part, because I've been doing that kind of a show for quite some time now.
Right.
And just opening up the stage for other artists to shine. So I've made it a point for myself to open those doors, pave that way. There are others before me that have paved the way, you know what I mean, up until this point. It's my job now to continue that for the folks that are coming behind me. And I feel very, very good about it. But there are other things that people want to hear as well.
There's more to offer.
There's far more to offer in this country. And I felt like, okay, now's the time. Like, I got to just do it. Because I wasn't getting any help. Like, I was trying to get sponsorship, this and that.
Right.
Couldn't get nothing. So I just did it myself.
Why now, though? Why now, specifically?
Like I said, this has been something that has just been building up over time.
Yeah.
And I've just gotten to the point now where I'm just like, you know what? It's now or never. I've built up enough momentum over the years.
Mm-hmm.
I've got enough people supporting me, and I have the know-how, the knowledge.
That's
right?
true.
I've got the inside track on how things work. Even though when I did that show at Kerner Hall in 2022, there's a lot of things that I needed to learn, and I'm happy that I did.
Yeah.
But I'm in a very good position right now to like move this forward. And Harbourfront is such a spectacular venue.
And did you pick out all of these artists yourself? Or
Yeah. This is, I run this show, and hopefully one day I'll have help. And I do have some help. You know, Catherine Bridgman and Tanya Phillips have been instrumental in like helping me piece like things together.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's me. I'm the one that's getting the calls. I'm the one that's got to set up the rehearsals. I'm the one that's got to like pick out the music and the artists and this and that.
Right, but it's going to be worth it.
It is 100% worth it. Reaching the Black audience in Canada has been somewhat of a challenge.
You think so?
Oh, 100%.
Do you think it's hard to find that Black audience? Or do you think it's hard to find the Black artists?
No. It's hard to connect with the Black audience and get them to come. You know,
Right.
it's an interesting thing because, you know, we talk a lot about it. I like to say the quiet part out loud because I think it's necessary in order to move things forward.
Yes.
But, you know, black people supporting other Black people is a really
This is a
it's a big thing. And it's a touchy subject, but like I said,
definitely a touchy subject.
But
it's a necessary conversation.
It is a necessary conversation.
It's a conversation that's been happening for years and years about how does the Black community help the Black community?
I can honestly say, you know, I spent some time over the years at Casa Loma and doing my show Soul in the City there. And it was a phenomenal experience. You know, we had 750 to 1,000 people show up every night. Like, it was fantastic every week. But of those 750 to 1,000 people, you know, most of them were affluent white people. The show was called Soul in the City. It's for us. I mean, it's not just for us. You know, it's music that we love, that we grew up on. It's our culture.
Yeah.
So you would think that there would be more folks out there that look like me, that look like you.
Right.
But
You
it
think
wasn't.
it's just not marketed as accessible to the Black community?
I think, you know, marketing plays a large role, definitely in it, and just trying to figure out how to reach people and how to touch them and be like, hey, listen, this is for you.
Yeah.
Come, this is exactly what is needed in order to help reach and grow. We can all win together
if we help each
just
other, lift each other, continue to platform each other. Yes, you have of course performed around the world, but you always come back to Canada. Why is it important for you to perform for a Canadian audience?
This is my home. This is my home. I've seen a lot of places for sure. And Canada has its own set of problems 100%. But yeah, I love Canada. I think it's truly a great country.
That's very true. Speaking of bandmates, you performed with the Righteous Echo, I believe.
Yes. That is
and you're going to be performing with them again at the Harbourfront Center.
Yes, they're just fabulous musicians, and they tour all of, like, they do their own thing with different artists.
Right.
But when we come together, they just understand Sean speak. They just get.
So is that what the audience can expect?
Of course, man. Like this is a Sean Jones thing actually, which is very. I like to take songs and take people on a journey.
That's what you want to do.
Yeah, man.
You kind of want to tell a story.
Absolutely.
For the audience.
I think that's necessary. I think people want an experience. Yeah.
So what are you doing to prepare for all of that?
Creatively, my mind is kind of shut off and just trying to soak in everything that I need to remember for the show. Once we're prepared and I know that we got it, it's just like, okay, let's just go out there and deliver.
Canada has produced some of the world's most impactful R&B and soul artists, like Deborah Cox, Tamia, Melanie Fiona, and of course now, as you talked about, like The Weeknd and things. However, like you said, there still seems to be a lack of recognition towards their work and their impact. Why do you think that is, and how do you think that we can solve that issue?
I think they are getting their recognition. It's not them that have the issue because they've been able to go to the States, get the machine working for them, and have climbed over the mountain and are now like, okay, now they're just collecting the spoils of war.
So you're saying you think it's the Canadian
it's just Canada in general. 1 minute you love them, and then the next minute you're just like, you know, and I have a problem with that.
Do you think it's because we just rely on American artists?
Yes. Well, I mean, we tend to equate success with America. You know, every gatekeeper here, whether it's the record labels, the managers, or whatever, you know, you can make it here per se, but it doesn't mean anything. But oh my goodness, you go across the States and you get that record deal, then it must be right.
Do you think their record labels do more for their artists?
Yes, they do. They spend a lot more money. They invest.
Any advice for artists out there?
I don't know, and I've spoken about this as well. I don't really know what to tell young artists these days. And I only say that because the landscape has changed so much.
Right.
You know, back in the
better? Or?
No, not at all. You know, there is no artist development whatsoever. It's gone. They don't.
I feel like nowadays they wait for the artists to develop themselves, like on social media.
They do.
And, like, get a following, and then they just snatch them up, and they're like, we're just.
But that is the thing. They don't want to spend the money on that anymore, right? And so what you have is a bunch of artists now who, many of them, I'm sorry to say, but have not honed their craft. It's not that they're not talented.
Okay, we're not dropping names. It's
not that they're not all of them are not talented, but they haven't honed their craft to the point where they should have the opportunity to have that kind of, you know, be out there. And what it does is it dilutes the entire pool. You have young kids coming up who are listening to this and saying, and listening to the stuff that is getting played because, you know, they're getting shine on Instagram and this and that, and it's blowing up, and they're getting millions of spins.
And they're changing their sounds to fit that.
They're changing exactly. And they're thinking that that's what's good.
Well, you saw them at the Harbourfront, and if you didn't, I'm so sorry. You missed that.
You missed out. It was a fantastic show.
Yes, upcoming shows. So
absolutely.
Look out for that on his social media, on his Instagram, Sean Jones Music, I believe.
Yes, Sean Jones Music. SeanJonesMusic.com is my website, and then you can find me everywhere and see clips and blah, 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 all that stuff.
Well, thank you guys. Bye.